going into this prediction here, we both picked us to lose to Texas last week. Now, we left it feeling a bit more confident in the Gators, a little bit less confident in Texas maybe than more confident in the Gators, I should say. But we still will both have us losing, although I think all of these games so far are games that neither of us would be shocked if we won them.
I'm not sure there's any game on the schedule I'd be shocked if we won it.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was trying to get at there. But
yeah,
this Texas A&M game, I have us beating LSU and Miami. You have us losing to LSU, but beating Miami and losing to Texas. This A&M game, so I said it last week, and I've said it earlier today. We were a bit underwhelmed with Texas. I think we're going to have the opposite feeling here with Texas A&M. I think you're going to be a bit more shocked, and I think I might be as well on what this Texas A&M roster has to provide. And last year, obviously, A&M went and boat raced us 33-20, but we had like 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. That game was never really in doubt for Texas A&M, but a whole new team, and we're not predicting this based on what we saw in week 3 of last season. So I know earlier you had us winning this game, I had us losing when we made our predictions a couple months ago. But how about we just get straight into it with the offense? And you're always going to start with the QB, and they returned Marcel Reed. Now, he torched us last year in the air and on the ground. But you look at his stats, 1,800 yards, 1,864 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, a 142 rating. But he also had 543 rushing yards to go alongside 7 rushing touchdowns. He didn't start every game. Weigman started the first 2 games. But, after that, Weigman, I think, started like 2 more games until halftime against LSU, where Marcel Reed came in and took over for the rest of the season. And now this is his team. They do bring in a backup QB in Jacob Zenu, ton of experience at UAB. Pretty sure a couple years ago he was one of the top 5 QBs in completion percentage. So he's just like he's like an NFL type of QB that you bring in to be your backup.
Played at Baylor too. He was a starter at Baylor at one point.
That's right. Yeah, he was at Baylor. But you don't expect this guy to come in here and go light up and throw it down the field. But if Marcel Reed goes down, because mobile QBs can get hurt pretty easily, you have a solid backup in there that's not going to go out there and lose you the game.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to describe Jacob Zeno. I think this is obviously Marcel Reed's team. It has been Marcel Reed's team since November, I think, is when he took October. When did he take over full time for Weigman? Because Weigman was hurt, and then so he started a few games before he kind of took over full time. I think Marcel Reed is. He obviously sparked this offense last year. There's no doubt about that. Late October. Okay. He obviously sparked this offense last year. It definitely picked things up when he came in. And I think most of that is just because of what you saw in the Florida game, which is his legs, his ability to run, his ability to create, even plays in the passing game using his legs. So, I think that is encouraging, and you think you can maybe harness that to get something pretty exciting on offense. I think he did leave a bit to be desired as a passer. Not insane in terms of touchdown to interception, insane in a bad way. But not super efficient in terms of completion percentage. Didn't throw, yards per attempt, only at 7. So he wasn't, being super explosive through the air and super efficient through the air. But I think for his first year starting, it was pretty solid. It's just, to me, what the question is, how much higher is the ceiling with him? Because I think what he did last year was serviceable. And if you get that again, it's probably enough to be a decent team, because they were a decent team last year. I'm not sure they're taking a step, though, unless he takes a major step.
Yeah, that's totally true. I'm pretty high on this A&M team, although I'm still not sold on Marcel Reed. I know Bud Elliott talked about it on his own show, the Cover 3 podcast, that he's talked to scouts and stuff and coaches, and Marcel Reed just doesn't have the next level ability to read defenses, and if he's getting confused, be able to make the right reads and everything. So I do worry about that. But I also think you look at the rest of the Texas A&M offense, and you conclude his rushing ability. You look at this running back room. It's probably one of the 3 best running back rooms in the SEC to go alongside Florida, and I think I mentioned last week, Texas. I mean, Le'Veon Moss, first team All SEC.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he finished top 5 in rushing yards in the SEC, or maybe even higher. And he missed like the last month and a half of the season.
Yeah, only 765 yards in 9 games. It's pretty good.
Like he was on pace to get near that 1,000 yard rushing mark there to go alongside a really mobile QB. But that's not even it with this running back room, as Ruben Owens, a former 5-star or top 50, 100-ish level player, really high recruit, is also right there, who last year, I'm pretty sure he was injured last year, but they had really high hopes for him being the high recruit. And Amari Daniels ended up going for 661 yards and 8 touchdowns as well, nearly 5 yards a carry. And they also have EJ Smith, a grad in a senior season, who went for 207 yards. And as a 4th string running back, EJ Smith is elite as a 4th string running back. And I'm pretty sure his receiving game, yeah, he had more receiving yards last year. Or wait, no, that was the year prior. Sorry. But he went for 66 receiving yards last year. So he provides another type of player to this offense that you don't get the other players in his receiving ability. So their running back room is as stout as it gets in the SEC. And they have the mobile QB, who probably the most mobile QB in the SEC and maybe the country.
Yeah, I mean, certainly up there. I mean, I'm struggling to think of anyone off the top of my head.
Like, there's no more Milrow, and no.
No.
I don't think there's anybody else here in the SEC. So, yeah, I mean, definitely the most in the SEC and maybe the country. So I think you're expecting some pretty big things from him. Tight end Amari Niblack transferred from. Oh yeah, I think Marcel Reed's a bit quicker than Sellers.
He's what? Say that one more time.
But they're up there in the same like type of category. But then, crap, go. They bring in a transfer, Amari Niblack. Was he at Texas last year or Alabama? I can't remember.
He was at Texas last year via Alabama.
Okay.
But he barely he got outplayed by Gunnar Helm.
Yep, that's right. But then at Bama the year before, he went for 327 yards and 4 touchdowns. Someone that I like as a tight end. Now I don't know if I love him or if how much he can step it up, but I think he's a solid tight end. And I know they have a kid from Sweden as their backup. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, but we'll call him Theo if that's his name. Went for 10 catches, 184 yards, and 2 touchdowns last year. Pretty highly rated. Yeah, from Sweden, Stockholm. Pretty highly rated recruit. Someone that they probably expect to take another step into going into his junior season. Yeah. But I think the real selling point of this offense is its offensive line. It's, again, like how I mentioned, the running backs, one of the top 3. You can put them like in any order in the SEC, and to go alongside Florida again, and probably Alabama. I mean, Trey Zune was a really good left tackle for him last year. Chase Bisontis is one of the best guards in the country. Armaj Adam Reed, is he a transfer last year? Or I think he transferred the year before, if I'm not mistaken.
He was a transfer at one point. Yeah, okay.
From Kansas, and again, is also one of the best guards in the SEC. And Demetrius Kronover, really good offensive lineman. So it's like they have a really good and veteran offensive line here. Redshirt senior, junior, redshirt junior, and redshirt senior. So very experienced, very proven. You know, a lot like Florida there with their offensive line. And you have that mobile QB and those elite running backs. I expect this running game to be really, really good for them this year.
Yeah, I mean, it should be fantastic between what Marcel Reed's able to do and the fact that you bring back, your 4 top running backs from last season. They're all still here. So, I mean, I think that room has the potential to be tremendous. I mean, I think I said in our bold predictions that Florida would have the best running back room in the SEC, or the most, lead the SEC and have the best rushing offense in the SEC. I think this might be your top contender right here. This might be the top competitor in that regard, because it looks like it has the potential to be really, really good with all those veterans along the offensive line and the returning production. I mean, we'll get into it with the receivers too, but this offense looks pretty loaded.
Yeah, I think they're going to lead the SEC in rushing. I think Florida will throw it a bit more. I mean, Lagway's better QB than Reed is, at least throwing the ball wise. So I think they'll end up leading the SEC in rushing, assuming Reed stays healthy. I mean, even if he doesn't, they're still going to be able to run the ball with just by handing it off really well with how this offensive line is. But then you go look at the receivers. They bring in Casey Concepcion, who I'm pretty sure was like the Triple Crown. But, in his freshman year, 71 catches, 839 yards. He also had 320 rushing yards for a total of 10 touchdowns. Was like I'm pretty sure an all-American, all-freshman in the country his freshman season. Was really good for NC State. And last year took a step back. Now I know I'm pretty sure NC State's QB got injured, just quit playing early in this year for him, and they had a big down year. I think it was MJ Morris. If I'm not mistaken.
That was the year before. They had a CJ Bailey was the quarterback who emerged for them last year, who played pretty well but was a true freshman.
Yeah, so I don't know how much you can look at his decline in production as something of him getting worse, or everyone around him was also playing pretty poorly. So yeah, I'm still pretty high on Casey Concepcion. Like if he was here, I'd be really high on him. But again, it's like, is Marcel Reed gonna be able to get the ball to him at a high level?
Yeah,
and they also bring in Mario Craver from Mississippi State. Yeah. Another shorter receiver, 17 catches, 360 yards, 3 touchdowns, quicker type of player there. So more quick. I think Concepcion is more of your possession receiver, and Craver is more of your slot speed receiver. And then they also have another slot type of option, and Terry Bussey, 6 foot, someone who didn't put up any stats last year, or I think he may have done kick returns, but five-star recruit, that natural athlete, like a Trey Wilson. When you're coming in here, maybe not a true receiver, but you just get the ball in his hand, he's going to do something with it. So I look at this receiver room, and I see athleticism, I see speed, I see a controlled blanket with Casey Concepcion, and I really like it. Now, I think the question is, do you maybe have that deep threat? That guy that you can just throw the ball up to and they can go get it. Now, they have I thought Isaiah – no, okay. I know Isaiah Williams, the guy they flipped from Florida a couple years ago. He's only 6 foot. I thought he was 6'4", so guess I'm mistaken there. They had Jonah Wilson, who had 9 catches for 58 yards. He was 6'3", so maybe that's the guy that ends up being 6'1". They did try to go and get what's the 5-star receiver that transferred from Texas Tech?
Micah Hudson. I was about to bring that up you didn't. Yeah, this receiver room also had a former 5-star, Micah Hudson, there last year, or in the spring, which is crazy.
And he's 6'4", if I'm not mistaken. So that was probably their plan for their bigger type of receiver that can just go jump ball. So maybe that's the one thing you worry about this offense, if it's too much speed. And, they had the one possession receiver in Concepcion, but maybe it's not enough variety. It's just too much of one thing.
Yeah.
That could slow him down.
I think that's a really valid concern. I like the vision, though. I think it has the potential to be really exciting. I think Casey Concepcion, I like that move a lot, to be honest with you. I think I'm willing to bet on that being an NC State problem and not a Casey Concepcion problem, considering what he was able to do as a true freshman. Bussey, we'll see. It's just kind of, the talent's there. It's just hard to know what it actually entails. And Craver had a good true freshman season at Mississippi State last year on a team that wasn't very good. So, but had, some moments on offense. So I think sorry, was that?
Sorry. They did get a 5-star receiver, Jerome Miles from Utah, who's 6'3", 215. So maybe he can become that bigger body receiver that can make an impact early in day one, like we expect for Dallas Wilson.
Yeah. So, I think this receiving core's got potential, but definitely a lot of question marks. I think not a sure thing, probably the weakness of this offense, but I don't think that's necessarily saying a ton, because I think this is a pretty strong offense. I think the way I look at it, to me, there's enough pieces here. This should be a good offense. I think if Marcel Reed can take a step, it might be a great one. But I think at the very least, it's going to be a very solid, well within the upper half of the SEC kind of offense.
And who's their offensive coordinator? Is it Colin Klein?
Yes. Yeah, Colin Klein.
I know I've seen people talk about people are really high on him as an offensive coordinator. But I remember I was listening and they were talking about him maybe overcomplicating things for the offense and for Marcel Reed. So maybe that's something that could hurt them, or maybe they fix it up and make it better and not hurting him as much. But that's something maybe to keep an eye out there, if maybe Colin Klein's trying to do too much with the offense, and maybe he should just stick with the QB option and having the QB run it, or maybe make the quick decisions and letting his playmakers make the ball. Because I think where he might get in trouble here is if you try to draw back to pass with Marcel Reed and he just can't stay in the pocket and can't maybe find those deeper shots that could help you win a game, which that might end up being the problem with this offense.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting, thought because I mean obviously this team lost 4 or 5 games to end the year last year, but it's not
Yep.
like that was because teams figured out how to stop this kind of option run game. I mean they scored in those losses. They scored at least 20 points in 3 of the 4. So it's
Oh,
just what wasn't really a problem with the offense not being able to produce. So
they did score 0 against Texans.
oh, I guess
It was a
that
pick
yeah,
six.
that is true. I mean, but that was a really good Texas defense too. But I'm
Yeah,
saying, I mean, like it's not I
that's
don't
fair.
really put a 43 to 41 loss to Auburn on Colin Klein's
Yeah,
offense. Same with giving up 44 points in a blowout loss on the road to South Carolina. So, and obviously scored a lot of points and wins over LSU and Missouri. So, I mean, I think the offense was serviceable last year. Like I think you might be right. Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I do think if you can add, a little bit more of a reliable passing game here, then I think you have a potentially elite offense. But even if you don't, I think you can stick to the bread and butter of those option runs with Marcel Reed and probably be very successful.
absolutely. But let's get into the defense here because this is probably the reason they lost those 4 of last 5 games they ended up playing.
Yeah.
Now, familiar face here for us. They bring in TJ Searcy to become that left defensive end for them, or I guess that's what they have him listed on the roster. I'm not sure. Had 2 sacks last year, but I feel like he started really getting on it at the end of last season.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he had some good pass rushing moves, and we'll see how much Mike Elko can develop him. And that's what I'm going to look at here. And this whole defense, I was surprised that they really fumbled down the year because I think Mike Elko is a great defensive coordinator and
Mm-hmm.
maybe one of the best in the country. Maybe he wasn't putting enough attention on it and was looking too much around him. But you look at TJ Searcy, transfer junior, ton of experience, and they got Albert Regis, I think it is, had 16 tackles or 36 tackles last year as a defensive tackle, and it was solid veteran leadership there at nose tackle, which is what you can ask for. They bring in
Yeah.
Tyler Odium from Iowa State, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, from Iowa State, who again 33 tackles at the big defensive tackle spot. Really good player there, and they also have DJ Hicks, who was a former 5-star, if I'm not mistaken. Someone in his junior year, you would expect him to step up now. Cassius Howell, someone that they are really high on, had 4 sacks last year, but he was also backing up Shamar
Yeah.
Stewart and Nick Scorton. So it's someone I know they expect to take a pretty big leap there. And Torian York was one of the best linebackers in the SEC last year. I'm not high on Scooby Williams. We don't need to get too much into that, but
Yeah.
yeah. And look at cornerback. I mean, Des Rick's a former 5-star. We'll see if he can finally put it together. Transferred from Bama after last year or 2 years ago. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see if he can put it together. But he has that high ranking. And Julian Humphrey, who played a lot at Georgia, is there who could also start over Des Ricks, who was also former Gator commit, top 100 recruit, and everything. So don't think it'd be crazy to see him starting. Will Lee is one of my favorite corners in college football. If you remember the Missouri Texas A&M game where he put they had a blanket put in Luther Burden's room saying from Will Lee, and
Oh, that was him that did
Missouri.
that? I remember
I
that.
think
I
they
didn't
said
remember
it
that was
was from
him.
him, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't from him. But
But I mean, that was him. That was him that was at the center of that. That's funny. I didn't remember that.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I really like Will Lee. Now, there's some things he can improve on. Obviously, wasn't perfect last year, but I really like him. And Jordan Shaw, they bring in transfer from Washington, and also Tyreek Chappelle, who I'm pretty sure was hurt in our game last year, a senior that they really like. So the corners on paper could be pretty good. And safeties, Bryce Anderson, a former near 5-star, and they have Dalton Brooks, who had an interception and 60 tackles last year. So they have experience there. So on paper, they have a ton of experience and high level recruits that this defense should be good. But you just look at the end of last year and
Mm-hmm.
you worry.
And I think my worry here is that, looking at this, I don't think there's a clear area of weakness. Like, I don't think there's a clear, like, this is the weak link here. But I'm also not sure there's a clear, like, this should be a really elite position group. Like, I don't know if they have that anywhere. I think there's a lot of solid and there's some questions. I mean, like, Cersei coming in, like a good player. Like I think in a perfect world, Florida would like to have him, but like at the same time, part of the reason he's leaving is because he wasn't gonna have as big a role maybe as some other guys on Florida. So
Yep.
I mean, I will say I think Cassius Howe poised for a huge year. Dude went off at Bowling Green in 2023.
I do
Was a
know
big
the bigger questions around how from last year, apparently he would get lazy in a run defense
Mhm.
and maybe made him a bit more
Yeah.
inconsistent, but so you're hoping you get a full buy-in from him so you don't have any weakness from him.
Yeah. I mean, that's what'll be interesting to see. But I mean, I think he's definitely like the clear successor here. After that, he was a big time transfer
Yep.
coming in last year, and then sort of ultimately, like you said, played a smaller role behind a couple of highly drafted NFL guys. So him coming in now, I mean, I think this is potentially going to be a breakout year for him. But we'll see. It's still a
Yep.
question. You're not going to assume that he can produce at the same level he was producing in the MAC. I mean, I think linebacker like Torian York produced quite a bit last year, and so did Scooby to an extent. I think we know what Scooby is. You can play him. He's serviceable in the SEC. He's also not going to blow
He's a
your
veteran.
mind, and he's going to make some mistakes. Yeah. And then I think looking at the secondary too, it's kind of in that same vein where it's like Ricks, we'll see a former elite guy, but haven't really seen it yet. Will Lee is good, maybe not great. And, Jordan
Yep.
Shaw also we'll see kind of more of a younger guy coming in from Washington. But I guess it's like, where in this defense, just across the board, looking at it, where are you like, I don't have any questions about X? Because I'm struggling to find that.
Like, if you look at it, I mean, if you're looking at their defensive line, their front seven, do you think Florida is going to have an insanely tough time running against this defensive line like they did last year?
No, I don't think so.
No, because I mean, you look at nose tackle. I don't think Albert
Yeah.
Regis is someone that scares Jake Slaughter in one bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like Onyedum, maybe DJ Hicks, former 5-star, but it's like you haven't seen it yet. I mean, if LJ McCray comes out this year and puts up 1.5 sacks like DJ Hicks did and just didn't do anything that much, like I don't think I'm gonna go into my junior year expecting LJ McCray to be a huge difference maker. So I think like it could be Hicks, but it's also like I don't think that's what the expectation would be right now. Yeah. And then like you have Onyedum, I expect to be solid, but if we have one of the best offensive line like we think we do have, I don't think he's that much of an issue. And I mean, Powell could be a big question in pass rushing. Mm-hmm. Like we'll see if he can take another step there, and like we both think he's poised for success. But I mean, whether he's lining up against Austin Barber, who's one of the best tackles, was one of the 2 best tackles in the SEC according to the media poll, according to the media, like I don't know if those guys are going to be able to get much of a pass rush, and I don't know if they're going to be able to stop the run. Like, and Scooby Williams, if Lagway's healthy and he has his mobility, Scooby Williams really struggles with mobile quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you remember the Notre Dame game, Riley Leonard was cooking Scooby Williams, and so was Lenoris Sellers. Like, yeah. And if Lagway's healthy, like he's not as much of a mobile QB. I mean, I think he'd be pretty similar to Riley Leonard in terms of speed and athleticism. I mean, a bit more athletic, I think, but less of a willing and designed runner as Riley Leonard was. So, I mean, maybe he takes another step and grows in his redshirt senior year there. But I feel like we should be able to run the ball. And I think the secondary is where, like, you look at and be like, okay, I think that's where I expect more of a step up. Because I like Will Lee. I know you the Florida with Will Lee. Like, although how tall is Will Lee? I think 6'3", so like good speed, 6'3". Like he could shut down a wide receiver one, like he did with Luther Burden. Although I'm pretty sure what's his name, the QB for Missouri was injured. Brady.
Brady Cook was hurt for most of that game, or maybe that entire game. I can't remember.
I think he got hurt like early on in it.
Yeah,
but then it's like Des Riggs, like they have the talent at corner, and I think they have enough proven production to where I could see them being able to stop the passing game. But if we're able to run on them, and they have to bring the safeties up, and J. Michael Sturdivant, like if he's getting past the defense, it just has to happen once, and that could be a touchdown.
Yeah.
So I think like if
No,
one
go
of
ahead.
these position groups on A&M don't step up to be like elites,
Mm-hmm.
then I think our offense should be able to score enough to, win this game.
Yeah, nothing I'm looking at defensively from A&M to me makes me think that it's going to like severely inhibit what Florida's going to try to do on offense in this game. I mean, I think the disaster situation that you worry about in this game is just that once again, because I mean, I will say down that stretch last year, Florida didn't really have to face a guy like Marcel Reed, a guy who can test you the way Marcel
I
Reed can.
mean,
So
I guess
who?
if you mean like, I don't know if there's many Marcel Reeds in the country.
Well, the point I'm making is
So
he
like
torched
Jackson
he
Dart,
to me
Jackson
that's
Dart
not the same
was a
level
really
of
mobile
dynamic.
QB.
He is. I don't think that's the same. He's the same level of dynamic. But the point I'm trying to make is that Marcel Reed torched you last year.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I think the thing that's scary is even if the defense is improved from that game, maybe they're just still not really, they don't really have the personnel to stop that, especially with a good
Miles
offensive
Graham.
line. Yeah, I mean, he might need to have a huge game. But I mean, do you agree with me? Like, I think the pretty obvious disaster situation here is that you just let Marcel Reed run for 150 on you again or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm predicting this as one of our 2 losses, and again, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's because of this running game.
Yeah.
Like we talked about it earlier, like maybe our D line depth isn't as much of a concern as we think it is, or hopefully it's not. I think this type of running style where your edges are going to have to be fully locked in. Now, Tyreek Sapp is a better run defender than he is pass defender, and he was third team all SEC. So maybe you're not too much worried there. But George Gums, like, is he going to be able to stop him on the edge, or LJ McCray or Cam James or whatever or whoever it is? And the linebackers, I mean, I really like the linebackers and the athletic ability they have, but could they get lost looking in the backfield? Like, could they get lost thinking that Marcel Reed handed the ball off to the running back, but never mind,
Mm-hmm.
he has it. They go after him, but then they realize Terry Bussey is 30 yards down the field, running wide open for a touchdown with just one safety to try to stop him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a real concern. And I mean, like you said, you have this as one of your losses. I had it as a win. I'm not changing my mind on that. And I do think
Yep.
am looking a little higher at them, like you kind of said we would. But I do think, I think that the formula for Florida to win this game is pretty straightforward. And I think if you can sell out to stop the run, I'm not sure this passing offense can punish you for it. So
That's very fair.
And I have a lot of questions about the defense. I think Florida will be able to score points in this game. Like, I mean, I think I still feel pretty confident about this game if Florida's the team we think they're going to be, just because I think that defensively they'll be able to handle the tricks that Colin Klein's going to throw at them. But again, I think, if you see Marcel Reed, running with a ton of daylight and Florida can't stop Le'Veon Moss and company, like, yeah, you're probably looking at a pretty tough game, especially being, on the road.
And some off the field factors to look at. I mean, this is going to be a revenge game for us. After what they did to us last year, and we returned so many players who maybe have this game marked on the calendar. I mean, they probably have every game marked on the calendar, so that's maybe irrelevant there. But like what they did to us last year, and Lagway's homecoming, he's already said that he's going to have family, friends, and former teachers and stuff at this game because this was the local school. This was a team that he went growing up 2 games to College Station. So could that be something that makes him fold, or maybe it makes him rise? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the quote that like you don't rise under pressure, you sink to the level of your training. It's something I really like, but like, I mean, something like this in a College Station with an environment like this, I feel like is someone that really could just, can you rise to the occasion or do you fall?
Yeah. And to make tonight's show kind of come full circle, I think one of the things that one thing we didn't mention that I think Lagway said that was very interesting at SEC Media Days was talking about having to miss the Texas game when he was
Yep.
injured. That was obviously he's closer to College Station than Austin, but was still a homecoming of sorts for him. He said he was going to have a lot of family at the game there to watch him. So he kind of missed out on that opportunity to go play in front of in front of Texas or in front of, his home state. So I'm sure between that and the way that Florida lost that game, it left a pretty bad taste in his mouth. So like, this is one he has circled, like even more than he already was just coming home. Like, now this game means even more with him not being able to go in that Texas game. So going to be an emotional night for him. I think that could go one of two ways for Florida, but I think it's going to be an emotional game one way or the other.
Yeah, we're going to have so many physical battles against LSU, Miami, and Texas before this game. And we're going to have so many emotional, not just physical, but emotional battles there too. With, Miami is a revenge game and Texas is a revenge game. I mean, at what point is it like, okay, every game's a revenge game for a reason?
Yep.
So, I mean, maybe it is something that really motivates them. And hey, I'm not going to be complaining if we go out there and win this game, or if we win every game, obviously. So, especially, hey, if I said it, if we beat Miami and LSU, I'm not picking us to lose to Texas. If we beat Miami and LSU and Texas, I'm not picking us to lose to Texas A&M. And when we get to the moment, heck, if we go 2-1, I'm not picking us to lose this game against Texas A&M when we get to that week of previewing the game.
Yeah, I mean, my thing with this game is just like, I think the reason I'm sticking with a win ultimately, even though I do think it will be tough, is just because I'm choosing to take, even though I'm kind of the more pessimistic one on the show, I still think I'm taking a fairly optimistic. I mean, I have the Gators at 9-3. Like, if Florida's 9-3, in all likelihood, they'll be a playoff team. So for all intents and purposes, I have the Gators as a playoff team this year. So I'm kind of choosing to take a more optimistic view of things. And if I'm taking an optimistic view of things, like, to me, I just don't see a way Florida is the team we think they can be, and they'll lose this game. Like, to me, if you're going to lose this game, there's a few other games you're going to lose. And I don't think Florida is going to be a 4 or 5 loss team. So it's kind of that simple.
Yeah, a lot of predicting the record isn't about the specific game. It's just about getting the overall record correct and figuring out the pieces of which ones you lose and which ones you win. Something interesting here to look at, though. Of course, Texas A&M gets to face Mississippi State the week before we play them while we face Texas. Now, there's two ways to look at it. After they face us, they face at Arkansas. So I don't think this game is in Jerry World anymore.
Oh, is it not?
Or Arlington. I don't think it is.
I totally missed that. If that's
at Razorback Stadium.
Wow, that's cool. I mean, that game being there kind of sucked. I think on campus is better. I just didn't know that had happened.
Yeah, so I mean, there's one way to look at it as, okay, Arkansas probably isn't going to be that good, so it's probably a team that they're not going to be looking to that Arkansas game as much as they are to Florida, and when they go to LSU and maybe host South Carolina in their big revenge game in Texas. But there's also, it's like, hey, it is a rivalry game. I know.
Yeah.
Arkansas is probably going to put a lot into that game, and especially if it being the first time it's on, or I don't know, first time in a while, probably it's on campus there. So, I mean, maybe they could be looking forward to it. Maybe they could just put everything into the Florida game. There's so many off the field things that we put value into that sometimes don't need value at all, but there's so many things that occur that can affect performances.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, who knows, A&M had who does A&M play in non-conference earlier in the year?
So they play Notre Dame week 3.
That's what I thought. I thought they had Notre Dame again. Is that the only tough game they have?
So
in non-conference.
In non-conference. So week 1 they host UTSA. Week 2 they host Utah State. Week 3 they go to Notre Dame. And then I think they host Samford in the second to last week.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, I'm looking up their schedule now. Like, I was about to say maybe they've taken a couple hard losses already at that point. But, like, truth be told, they could. But unless Auburn's better than I think they're going to be, they probably will be like 4-1 at the worst going into that game.
I have them losing to Notre Dame.
I do too.
But then I would probably have them winning against Auburn.
Yeah, I would as well. And then Mississippi State. If you're struggling against Mississippi State, then you got a lot of problems.
Who was the better coach? UTSA. Hey, of these 3 games, rank the coaches: Jeff Traylor at UTSA, Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State, Bronco Mendenhall at Utah State.
Bronco, Traylor, Lebby.
I mean, now if you rank the talent, it's going to be probably Mississippi State first, but coaching matters a lot. And Mississippi State is just not it. And unfortunately, I mean, I know I've been talking to some people that are a bit higher on them. Like when I say higher on them, they're saying like they're gonna win a game in the SEC.
Yeah, like I think they'll be improved, but they might be improved from 2-10 to 3-9. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
I think I don't understand why Luke Kromenhoek went to Mississippi State.
he's not even going to start.
I mean,
yeah, he's not going to start this year.
No, he's not shaping it. I mean, Shaping got injured against us last year on week 4. So, I mean, maybe injury concerns and could start. But still, it's like you're like just outside of 5-star status. And there's probably so many better spots you could have gone and waited a year. Because Mississippi State, they're not going to have the talent that the rest of the schools have. Like, unless he plans on staying out, like when Levy, I think Levy's going to get fired at some point in the next year or two, but maybe Kromenhoek decides to stay with Mississippi State after Levy is fired, and maybe the new coach is able to bring a spark, but that still doesn't make much sense. But we kind of went on a tangent here. Sorry. But yeah, we'll end this segment right here. I have us losing, but I don't think it's impossible for A&M to have 2 losses going to this game, and probably this being a game we probably should win.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's it's going to be tough, but to me, like if you're going to be Florida and you're going to be a playoff team, considering you've also got Texas, you got Georgia, you got at LSU, you got Ole Miss, who we'll see, but probably going to be a little tougher than we're giving it credit for right now. Like these are the kind of games you got to win. You gotta find a way to go win this game on the road. I think. I mean, obviously, maybe A&M will be way better than we think, but as things look right now, this just is a game that I think you're gonna have to win to accomplish what you're trying to. If you're Florida,
yeah, if you want to make the playoffs, then you probably can't lose this. You're another 8-4 Texas A&M team.
Yeah, exactly.